It's 10:30. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Today is a special called meeting of the Commissioners Court. Today is Wednesday, May 31st, 2023. It's 10:30 a.m. We're in the Ralph H. Walton Jr. Justice Center in the Central Jury Room at 1200 West Pearl Street in Granbury, Texas. We have with us today Pastor Raspberry, who's going to give us the invitation.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for all the wonderful blessings and mercy that you pour into our lives each day. Father, we ask that you be with us through this meeting. We ask for your wisdom and your discernment. Father, I thank you for the commissioners on this court. I thank you for their commitment to our community and their commitment to you, Father. And Lord, I just ask that you just bless this time. Father, I ask that you break down any walls that have been built, Lord. And Father, we just know that your wisdom and your discernment is pure and it's good. And Father, we just ask that you just bless this time. Bless everyone that's here, Lord. Father, we ask that you draw us closer to you and closer to one another. And Father, we just ask that you just bless our community. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now honor Texas.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, this is a special called meeting, and the only item on the agenda is to consider and take appropriate action to increase the annual salaries of the Hood County Assistant District Attorneys for the remainder of the 2022-2023 budget with the effective date of Monday, June 5th, 2023, and give direction to the auditor to transfer funds. So, Mr. Ryan Sinclair, would you come up here and explain what's going on?
Thank you, Judge. Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. Like you said, I'm the only one on the agenda, but I do come to the court with the realization that what we're doing here, what I'm asking for here, is a unique situation and is a mid-year budget request. And I don't relish asking for things mid-year. I think that things should be asked for in the budget process. And this is certainly outside of that process. However, the District Attorney's Office is currently facing a unique situation. The Assistant District Attorneys, there are 5 Assistant District Attorney positions in the District Attorney's Office here. And since the beginning of the year, of course, the staff has been working hard continually, but since the beginning of the year, I have lost 2 ADAs to either another county or another job, and also 1 assistant DA is being courted by another prosecutor's office for quite a bit more money. The District Attorney's Office in our county is a smaller office. It is not like Parker County. It's not like Johnson County, where they have quite a bit more assistant prosecutors. Johnson County District Attorney's Office has 14 assistant DAs. Parker County District Attorney's Office has 7 DAs, and they're asking for 1 more DA, assistant DA, in their budget for this next year. We have 5 assistant DAs. Johnson County DA's office and Parker County DA's office do not handle CPS cases. The county attorney's office in those counties prosecutes and handles all the CPS cases. But in our county, my office handles those cases. So one of my assistant DAs is almost entirely devoted to handling the CPS caseload that occurs in our county. In fact, she has court in here almost every Wednesday with Judge Barkley. But in February of this year, one of my trial attorneys left for a new job making quite a bit more money than he was making, or than that person was making here. Another assistant DA recently left last week. That person will be working for the Johnson County Attorney's Office, making quite a bit more money than was being made here. Another assistant DA here is being courted by the Johnson County Attorney's Office, making around $25,000 more than what that person is making here. We don't have the manpower to absorb staff losses like that. We have been working hard, trying more cases, processing more cases through the court system. There was a mid-year budget change with the cross assignment between Judge Haddix and Judge Bufkin that expanded our access to the courts and enabled us to try cases in more than one court, and we have done that. We're processing more cases, we're trying more cases, and as a result, I think you can see that the in-house jail population count has gone down significantly. Now, it's recently, in the past few days, going back up, but I think it dropped into the low 150s a few days ago. And there are many things that go into that, but part of that is the speed at which cases are processed through the system. That can have a direct financial impact to the county very quickly, because if we pay roughly $60 a day per inmate to house them in our jail here, if you drop that by, an average of 10 inmates per day per month, that equates to over $200,000 a year. And the monthly average for the in-house count in January was 177, and it dropped to 161 in May. So quite a bit of a difference, quite a bit of a financial impact to the county if you consider that we're paying $60 a day for each inmate we house in our jail here. I have prepared some documents that I'd like to present to the court outlining a surrounding county salary analysis from the other prosecutors' offices, if I may approach.
You bet.
All right. I try to get it all on one page to make it more centralized. This is small.
Right.
Yes, yes, ma'am. I'll pass it out.
Make sure your mic's on and adjust the mic.
Yes, sir. And then additionally, I've prepared a document outlining my budget request, if I may present that to the court, Your Honor. I'll give the court a few minutes to digest that.
So of your 6 that you have,
I have 5.
5, what is how many openings do you have right now?
I have 2 openings and hopefully not 3. Okay. But the one attorney that, and I put it on my document there under my office, that was offered, $102,000 to come work for the Johnson County Attorney's Office. And keep in mind, the County Attorney's Office, they handle misdemeanor assaults, they handle first and second DWIs, they also handle things like public intoxication, driving while license invalid. That's all good and noble work, but the fact patterns that the District Attorney's Office deals with are quite a bit more gruesome, brutal, child rapes, brutal murders, things like that. But the one attorney that was offered $102,000 to come work for the County Attorney's Office in Johnson County came to me and said, I do not want to go, but I cannot ignore this. And I can't fault that person because everybody has, families and mouths to feed and food to put on the table, and that kind of salary differential can't be ignored.
Yeah, you have to do what's right for your own family.
You do.
You have to think about the work-life balance. And
You do.
There's a lot of factors that go into it other than salary.
You do. And for that particular prosecutor, the distance from that prosecutor's residence to Johnson County's office and our office is roughly the same. So the travel time is not a big factor there.
Okay. And how many district courts does Johnson County
I
have?
think they have 3. They also cover Somerville County, but I think they have 3.
Okay, I thought they had 4, but
Maybe they could, Commissioner, I'm not sure.
okay. And Parker County has 2 district,
I don't know about that.
I think they have 2 district judges.
But you can see the first assistant in the Johnson County DA's office, their appellate attorney makes $155,000. I'm not even anywhere in the universe of that. The next one makes $140,000, and then their trial attorneys, I mean, on down, $122,000, $110,000, $106,000. The county attorneys in Johnson County's office, their first assistant makes $126,000. I am not even close to that. Their next one makes $123,000, then $108,000, $104,000. Parker County, their first assistant makes $138,000. Then they make $134,000, $126,000, and on down. My highest one starts at $99,000 plus a $10,000 certification pay for his that prosecutor's board certification. But then we go down from there quite a bit. And I've had a position open since February that has remained unfilled. I thought I had somebody hired, but it didn't end up working out. And I'm experiencing what other prosecutors' offices are experiencing, in that there are a dearth of applications by lawyers who want to come prosecute. I don't know what it is, if it's anti-law enforcement, anti-police animus. I think that's part of it, but across the state, prosecutors' offices are having a significant difficulty in hiring people to come put the bad guys away. Johnson County Attorney's Office, I talked to their district attorney, and he has had a position posted at $120,000 that has remained open for weeks with very little applications. So I'm not, currently I'm not in the ballpark of that, and I'm having the same difficulty. And we're a busy office. We try a lot of cases. We dispose of a lot of cases. We handle CPS. Johnson County DA, Parker County DA, they do not handle CPS. Matt Mills and I split the juvenile cases, and then I have investigators who investigate all the child sex crimes in the county. So we're quite busy. And if we were a bigger office like Johnson County or Parker County, perhaps we could absorb some of these losses and people go in to make more money at either other jobs or other prosecutors' offices. But we can't. And we can't continue the pace that we've been recently operating at if we don't have the staff to do it. So,
What do you think it would take to retain the one assistant DA that we don't want to lose? You and I have spoken about this lady.
well, I don't want to lose any of my.
Well, yeah. Well,
They're all good people, do excellent work.
Yeah.
But-
What do you think it's going to take to
Well-
retain her? It's going to have to take just as much as what Johnson County is offering her?
I am asking to bring her to roughly what Johnson County has offered her.
And then to fill the other position that you've had vacant since February, what do you think?
I'm asking to bring that position to the same as what the attorney being courted by Johnson County is offered.
So what is the annual salary you're talking about?
Well, that's the second document I presented to the court members, and it lists it, the assistant DA, the trial position, I want to take that from 85 to 103. And then the one being courted by Johnson County, that particular individual is underpaid as it is based on that individual's experience level prosecuting. Asking to take that from 78 to 103. And then my lowest position, who I just lost, I'm asking to bring that from 78 to 90. And it's my understanding that that position, that individual is making 92 at the new prosecutor's office.
You've got the one that's been offered the 102, but Johnson County, you're trying to, you've got on your second list you handed out to go take that person to 103.
Yes, sir. 102, 103, roughly the same.
Let me ask you this, and I just want to get the question out there.
Yes, sir.
If I'm looking at your Johnson County DA's office, I'm seeing 14 lawyers,
Yes, sir.
but half of them are $97,000 a year and under.
Yes,
The
sir.
bottom of the ring ladder being 81,000. So what do you attribute those lower salaries to?
The lower salaries, the 81, is the 86, those salaries, I think, are the intake attorneys in that office. I prioritize intake attorneys differently. I place a high value on intake. Those attorneys in our county deal closely with the law enforcement agencies and are actively involved in making sure the cases are adequate to secure convictions. The state of the evidence is good. Any follow-up investigations are requested by those attorneys. So I prioritize those positions differently than Johnson County does. They usually start their less experienced attorneys in the intake spots, and then those attorneys wait around until a trial attorney position opens up, and then they promote up. But here, I try to prioritize intake differently.
So is our intake attorney that at the current rate you're showing, is that person got more experience, and you want someone like that with more experience in that position? Is that?
Yeah, yes. That second document I handed out, the first position there is intake, and then I just didn't list it there, but the one down there that's listed as intake, I have 2 intake attorneys, and they have a lot of experience and have been prosecuting for quite a while. One a lot more than the other, but both of them have been prosecuting for a while. And I like to utilize that experience when analyzing and making intake decisions on the cases because it helps to make for better cases.
I get it. And so basically, all your lawyers have more than 2 years or 3 years experience.
Well, the one that just left that was at the 78, that person did not have 2 years experience, but she went, that person went to make $92,000 at a new prosecutor's office.
Over at Johnson County?
Yes, sir. And less than a year experience, and that's what I've heard that they're paying that position, that person.
Was that the one that left in February?
No, that was a more experienced attorney, a trial attorney, and that particular person went to private practice to make a higher base salary plus a commission. So.
We're not going to be able to compete with private practice.
No, that's correct. And I'm not asking to compete with private practice, but on some level, we want to keep good, experienced trial prosecutors here in our county. And we want to do that because it provides a high-quality service to the citizens of the county as well as the judiciary. Having good prosecutors takes time. They take time to train and develop experience in the courtroom. And once they get that experience, they become a lot more marketable to other prosecutors' offices and also private practice. And their trial courtroom experience markets very well. I want to keep that experience here. I don't want to lose all the training and have them go someplace else. Now, we offer good benefits here. That's one added benefit to working for the county. And, you know, the hours are decent. But we still have to, on some level, be cognizant of the fact that once you train good people, you don't want to lose all that training, you know, because you've just wasted your time and really wasted taxpayer money, and you got to start all over again. Having good prosecutors helps the whole system work better. We can prosecute cases more efficiently, secure stronger convictions, and ultimately protect the community because we have the experience and the wherewithal and the knowledge to get the job done.
So five is your, right now, that's your current level you want, and you're down to 3? Or you may be down to 3?
I am down to 5 ADA positions. One of those positions handles CPS, but also lately has been having to pull double duty doing trial work. And I've lost 2 positions, and the third one is threatened. So down to 3 ADAs, and with a threat of, or at least there was a threat of 2. I'm not sure what that particular individual's decision is, but I allow that person some work flexibility to come in earlier and leave earlier, which is important to that particular individual. The other prosecutor's office did not, but at some point, you know, like that individual said, I can't ignore that salary. So.
And we had spoken on this a little bit. You believe that you have somebody else that will take the trial attorney position if that salary
I do.
comes up to that point?
I do. I've interviewed someone currently working in Tarrant County. That individual looks to be very well qualified, has a good resume, good experience, but is currently making $108,000 in Tarrant County. Currently, I'm nowhere near that. I mean, he'd be a fool to accept my position now because that position he's interviewing for pays $85,000. So if that individual said that he would come if I could get it to 103, which is what I'm asking for in my new request.
Is he ready to hit the ground if he comes over here?
Well, he's been practicing for quite a while. He has been a family law attorney for about 5 years, and then he was a municipal prosecutor for maybe a couple months or a year, and then he got recruited to come to Tarrant County and start up a legal services division that helps individuals who are pro se and filing for a divorce and helps them get their paperwork in order and get the process running smoothly, and he's been doing that for about 3 years. So based on my interview with him, my discussions with him, his resume, I think he would get up to speed very quickly. So he's not a new lawyer. He's been practicing for quite a while, and he would just have to learn the ropes of how we do things, and I think he would get up to speed very quickly and be an asset and benefit to the county. So,
How many cases have you prosecuted this year, you personally?
I've prosecuted quite a bit. Of course, we've been trying cases in two courts sometimes, and so I can't be in both places. But I usually prosecute, I'm either first or second chair on just about every case that we go to trial, except if we're in 2 courts. So I think there's been, I don't know, 2 or 3 cases, maybe 4 that I haven't sat on because they've been in other counts or I've been doing other stuff. But so far this year, I think we've prosecuted maybe 6 or 8 jury and bench trials together.
So do you feel like you need to sit on every trial?
I'm sorry?
Do you feel like you need to sit at every trial yourself?
Well, you know, our DA's office is different from Johnson County DA's office. I don't think that their elected prosecutes cases. I don't think that the elected in Tarrant County prosecutes cases. But our DA office has been historically different for a long time, and I've continued that tradition. I try cases. I'm in the courtroom trying cases with my ADAs. It's good training, and it's something that is a benefit to the county. You don't have to hire another ADA to fill that trial attorney position because you're elected tries those cases. So
you said 6 to 8 prosecution trials this year?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. And with the addition of Judge Haddock's being able to take some cases, what is the upper limit to what that would add? And how many felony cases has he seen, and what do you think is the upper limit?
I don't know how many felony cases he's seen off the top of my head. I do know that it used to be that in jury trial weeks we could get 2 resolutions per jury trial week because we tried 2 cases, right? Now we can try more cases because we can have 2 courtrooms.
Mm-hmm.
We can also use the threat of trial to resolve cases. So, you know, defendants may push back for whatever reason, try to run out the game clock, and just try to have the tail wag the dog. But if they know that there's a second court and they can go to trial right now, then that may get them to resolve their case faster. And so we've used that. We've also been able to reach pleas and have plea deals pled the same week that we're going to trial. So we've had cases, I think one week we, instead of 2 resolutions, we had 7. And that makes a big difference. So you can see on the first document I handed out that our monthly dispositions are up. In 2022, we were 35, and roughly the same going back a few years, and then I think even less in 2017, maybe 2018. But now, excluding January, we have an average of 50 dispositions a month. Now that has downstream ramifications as well, because the more cases you process, the more paperwork that has to be processed alongside of the disposition, which adds a workload to the staff. And we've been averaging quite a bit more than what we've historically been doing, which then has those downstream consequences on our office staff and our clerks and everything else. So that's part of my budget request for this upcoming year, but it's not part of my mid-year adjustment now. I'm asking for a mid-year adjustment now because these salaries that my ADAs are being marketed for, I just can't compete with, and I can't fault them for, going somewhere else. So.
What's the percentage of cases that the Sheriff's Department presents to you that are kicked back?
I don't know that number, but I do know that we work closely with the Sheriff's Office. We have a meeting with their CID division every Friday to go over cases and go over issues. We enjoy a close working relationship with them, and their CID has changed recently and has been doing a bang-up job, and good cases are being made by the Sheriff's Office, and we prosecute those cases. The kickback comes from things where additional investigation needs to be conducted, witness statements need to be gathered, things like that. But we accept a lot of the cases that the Sheriff's Office sends us and enjoy a close working relationship with them. They do a good job.
Any other questions or comments? Do I hear a motion?
I was just going to say that, I agree that, I appreciate everything that you've done and your staff to work with Judge Haddix in both courts, and it does have an effect on what we're seeing in the jail. I do agree with you that this is not the right time to be asking for this. Now, if you wanted to eliminate a position and spread those funds within your budget, that's totally up to you. But further encumbering the upcoming budget cycle when we're just weeks away from getting into that cycle, if you look at what's happening in Washington, D.C., that's called tax and spend. And right now we're asking to spend then tax. And that's not what I was elected to do. We're fiscal conservatives. We have a process. I've researched several other counties in the short time that I had to prepare for this. I did not get any information ahead of time, which I would, with this unprecedented request, I would have expected to have a conversation with you about this before today. So receiving this information today and asking us to make a decision that's going to impact not just this budget, but the future budget that we're about to get into. I am not in favor of further encumbering the 2024 budget. Now, again, if you want to do something, eliminate a position that other departments have done, eliminated a position and were able to spread those funds and increase salaries, that's within your budget to do. But I would like to make a motion to table this and have a further conversation about what this impact. I mean, to everything you've presented today is kind of like you're having your budget hearing early, because you're giving us a lot of good information that's going to go into the 2024 budget, and I think that's great. I would like this information, but what about other counties of like size? I've done a little bit of research on that in the short time that I had, and we're not that far out of line. If you look at Medina County, who's going to be here in a week to talk about their jail, they're right in line with us. And again, Parker County has quite a few more district attorneys, assistant attorneys. They have 2 district courts that they serve. This is just not the right time to do this. We set a precedent, or the prior court set a precedent of doing out-of-budget cycle increases, which is, as I've talked with other counties, this is not a good precedent to have. We should not spend then tax and encumber the taxpayers. Again, I appreciate everything that you've done. The impact on the jail has been significant, but this isn't preparing us with good information for the upcoming budget. So again, I make a motion to table this.
Well, I have something to say before we make a motion
Yeah,
here.
me too, Judge.
I mean, this is an emergency situation. Nobody has anticipated this. If we don't do something here today, he is going to lose, the DA's office, as DA, is going to lose another position. He's going to be down 3 positions. This has 2 more months or 3 more months before we even have the budget hearings. This is something that is not his fault. They're not quitting because of something Ryan Sinclair did or didn't do. This is people from the outside that's coming back and really stealing his good people that he has trained, and in particular the one that handles the CPS cases. That's what they're going to do. We cannot sit here and let his department lose that many people just because it's not normally done. That's why we have an emergency fund. I've already spoken to the county auditor about it. This is why you just can't have a strict one policy fits all and just say, boom, nobody can ever come back into court and ask for anything, because it's not a budget cycle. I don't care about the budget cycle. We have an emergency situation, and keeping these jail population moving out of our jail is very important. And right now, because of the good work that Judge Bufkin and Judge Haddix is doing, and the DA is keeping up with, we've got the threat of either they're knowing that they're going to either plea out or go to trial, and if they go to trial and get found guilty, they're going to get a much stiffer sentence. So I want to keep that going because, like you said, that's a tremendous savings to the county. It's not his fault. He can't help that Johnson County has come up there and taken one of his persons, wants another person, and the other person will have to go into private practice where he's getting a salary plus a commission on the deal. This is not his fault. I think that in the best interest of the county, this is what they elect us for. We've got to make and be flexible enough to do what's best for the county. And in my opinion, we need to make this adjustment. Becky Kidd says that we have an emergency fund that for emergency situations like this, to keep the county running properly. And so I'm opposed to tabling. I want to give the district attorney's office exactly what he wants for the next 3 months to keep this county moving in the proper direction in which it presently is moving, thanks to the good work of Ryan Sinclair and Judge Bufkin and Judge Haddix. So I do not think we need to table it. We need to give him the money from the emergency situation in the county to keep this county progressing the way it is. You do want to say something, Commissioner Eagle?
Yes, sir. So which fund are you referring to? Becky, which fund are we talking about? Are we talking about anything within Mr. Sinclair's budget now, or is it a separate fund?
I've already taken his budget apart.
Get to the mic, will you?
Sorry, I've taken a good look at his budget. There's not a lot to cut. But you also have to keep in mind he's at an open position. That's about $20,000. Honestly, if you do this, I won't do anything with this budget right now. I would like to come back in a few months because I don't know when someone will leave, what their payout is, when someone will start. I wouldn't do anything with money today, even if you approve doing everything he wants. Let me come back in a few months and let you know where we are. I don't think you're going to be in that bad a shape.
Well,
But the difference would come out of general contingency or capital murder contingency.
so do you think that we could take, and I'm just throwing ideas out here, I mean, I can't disagree with the judge's position, and I understand Commissioner Samuelson's position. I hear both sides of that. And so the question I've got, the question at hand right this minute is to retain the lawyer that has basically come to you and say, look, you know, I can't turn this down unless you can do something to help me out. Can we fix that one today?
I think you can fix that one real easy, but also he has someone with experience that he wants to bring in. I think you can fix those two and see where we are.
If we could fix those two today, can we and make another run at this?
Yes, and may I respond
Yes, absolutely.
to both your question and Commissioner Samuelson's position? Because I'm sensitive, definitely, to your position, and I agree with it. But the issue with, and really, I'd like to get staff. And so I need that open position filled because that's a trial position. That's very, very important to managing the caseload in the office. So I need that position filled. And then the one that has been courted for the 102, I'm not sure what her ultimate decision is, and I could see it changing, down the road, because you can make a lot of things work, even work schedules, for that amount of extra money. So yes, I'd like to at least get those two to the 103 that is requested today. But the other ones that have a lot of experience and are, quite a bit, they could command a lot higher salaries as well. I think I'd like to adjust them well to keep them on a parity, but I'm certainly sensitive to the court's position. Now, with respect to your comments, Commissioner Samuelson, I know this is a mid-year budget request, and I wish I didn't have to come here today, but I'm coming to the court to just inform the court what's going on in my office, and these developments didn't wait for the budget year. They didn't wait for 10-1. I wish they did. I wish I didn't have to come to the court because of these developments, but I don't control when they happen, and they're happening because, in large part, the salaries that they can command at even other prosecutors' offices, not going to the Metroplex. We're not talking competing with Tarrant County. We're not talking competing with Dallas County prosecutors' offices. We're talking about competing with neighboring counties. Medina County is not a neighboring county to us, but Parker and Johnson are, and the people that live here, they can go to work in neighboring counties. So, but I am very sensitive, and I wish I wasn't here asking for these things mid-year, because I do think that the proper way to do these things is in a budget request, but sometimes these developments don't wait for the budget cycle. So I'm coming to you as they happen.
Well, could I ask you this, Mr. Sinclair?
Yes, sir.
Let's start at the bottom of your list. You got assistant DA trial. That, and I don't need names or anything, but how many years is that lawyer?
On my list, that lawyer was less than 1 year.
So that's a less than 1 year lawyer.
And that lawyer went to work, what I've heard, for $92,000 in another project.
Okay. And what about the second one from the bottom?
That lawyer is the one I was saying is vastly underpaid based on that particular person's experience already. That one was making the same $78,000.
But how many year lawyer?
10, I would guess.
Okay.
Somewhere around there, 8 to 10.
And then the one in the middle? Years?
Trial?
That one, when that particular individual left, was around 3 years.
Well, the 1 year lawyer, or less than 1 year, you say went to Johnson County for 92?
That's what I've heard.
When the DA's paying 81 for the,
Well, that's the DA. She went to the county attorney's office.
follow up, the CPS, what's going on up the list, what's the year's experience on the one that's handling CPS?
I would say 10 to 15,
And what about the top one?
around 20. If I were to guess, I'm just guessing. Then you probably know better than I do.
I just realized it had hire date on it.
Well, the higher
I don't
date
know.
is only start date for the
Yeah,
county,
that's true.
not years practice.
And I don't know which one of these is, which of those positions, so.
Any other comment?
Yeah, so what we're kind of looking at is, in a nutshell, if this is not done, you're probably walking out of here with 40% of your staff.
I don't know that. I haven't asked that one lawyer what that particular person's final choice is, but I'm just, practically speaking, it's hard to turn down that much salary. I mean, everybody has their price. Work-life balance notwithstanding, everybody has their price, and you can make a lot of things work for that amount of excess money. So I don't know, but at some point I could see that individual says, yeah, I can make it work, and I'm out of here. So
Right now, you're budgeted 5 ADAs, and you've actually got 1 open slot, so that means you've only got 4 ADAs on budget on payroll right now.
I've got 2 open slots now, Commissioner, but I've got 3. 1 left last week, and so I have 3 ADAs plus me.
So you've reviewed your budget. You don't see any way to handle this, eliminating a position for the rest of the year and then addressing this in the 2024 budget and being able to provide those increases within your current budget without encumbering the upcoming budget?
If I had the position to eliminate, I would do that, but I don't. I'm sensitive to that, but I don't. And to get the job done, I mean, this is what we need. And I'm even asking, Parker County's asking for an extra DA, and I am too, but I'm saving that for my next budget cycle.
We got a telegram here.
Not bad news, is it?
No.
Okay.
This is the auditor's underpaid.
I think that one of the things that we have to look at is the jail population, and
And I watch that every day, Commissioner.
yeah, and we're, since the beginning of March, I think with all the hard work that's gone on, that jail population is down nearly 40. And if you just conservatively say that it's, okay, 30 for sure, at the $50 a day for a year, that's a significant number. I
Yes,
think
sir.
that you had said,
It is.
60 for 10 people's, a couple $100,000 a year.
Yes, sir.
I really don't want to lose the progress.
Neither do I.
That we've made, and that is very much a concern that we don't need to go backwards on that.
And I agree. I don't want to lose the progress either, but I will say that if I don't have the staff to get the job done, I mean, it will go up, and that'll have a direct financial impact to the county. So
So are you through, Commissioner Andrew?
Yes, sir.
So if we were to get this done today, I guess the question I've got is, are there cases that are, like, for instance, going over to Judge Haddock's court, that you could actually turn loose a 20-year or 10 to 15-year lawyer and let them go try them and free you up?
I do.
Can you
Yes.
let go and let them go try some cases?
And I do. I have not tried a case in Judge Haddock's court yet, except for a juvenile case. I handle all the juveniles, but yes, I do. I send other lawyers down there to go do that. It's usually 2 lawyers, 2 prosecutors on each trial, so.
So you also talked about the threat of going to trial has reduced. So that could still continue, correct, with the staff that you currently have?
No. not with the staff I currently have, because I can't staff 2 courtrooms with jury trials going on in both courtrooms with the current staff.
But the threat, when you said that there's the threat of going to trial, which is causing more plea deals, and that can still continue.
Well, as long as the threat is real, then it can continue. But if they know the threat is not real, because I can't staff both courtrooms for trials, then there's no threat, because it's not real. So as
Yeah,
long as
you don't want to, I'm playing a little bit of devil's advocate here, but you don't want to threaten somebody and then not be able to carry it out. You need to be able to go to trial if you threaten them.
Yes, sir.
And they need to know that's going to happen.
Yes, sir.
And
And, yep.
How many trials do you currently do per month, and how many do you anticipate not being able to do if you aren't going to get this staff?
Well, I won't be able to staff both courtrooms on jury trial weeks, so we'll just have to drop back to try and cases just in Judge Buffkin's courtroom.
But you said that you've only done 6 to 7 trials this year, so.
Jury and bench trials, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's a little over 1 a month.
I think we average about 2.4 a month, but in January, there was a huge week-long civil trial about some sort of, I can't remember what it was, and then we had a big murder trial in January. We also had a big murder trial in December, and so those cases, you know, when we try a murder case, that's the only case we try that week, because it can take longer, there's more to it, it's more serious. So that will drop your counts down on jury trials, but they're big cases that need to get resolved, and they're not going to get resolved via a plea.
What's the percentage of plea deals, that you've been getting this year? In other words, the threat of, going to trial, going to jail longer, what kind of, response are you getting percentage-wise on making pleas?
I don't know the answer to that question, but I do know that our monthly dispositions on pleas have gone up from about an average of 35 last year to an average of 50 this year. So quite a bit. And I'd like to continue that, that trend and that progress and that pace. But I got to have the staff to do it. And so that's why I'm coming to y'all, just informing y'all about where I'm at in my office. I wish this was happening in September and we could make a change, for the new budget year, but it's May and it's happening now. So
Still have that ability to retain the person that you might lose within your budget.
well, yes, but then that leaves one position leaves 2 positions still open. The one that I've interviewed that is well qualified and wants to come here and is working in Tarrant County is willing to come here for less money than he's currently making in Tarrant County, because this is what he wants to do. But he can't come for what that position is currently budgeted at, and I can't ask him to. He's got 3 kids and mouths to feed, and so.
Yeah. So what about our county attorney? How many trials does he do? How many lawyers does he have? How does your staff compare to our county attorney?
He has 2 assistant county attorneys, both of which make more than 2 of my county attorneys, 1 intake attorney and 1 trial attorney. Both the assistant county attorneys currently make more. And for that matter, the court reporter who types the words formulated by the prosecutors makes more than almost every single prosecutor in my office. Makes 6 figures. And that person, and they're very valuable, very important, and I love both of them, but they make more than the people who have gone to law school and passed the bar exam and are prosecuting the cases.
That's not a recent phenomenon.
It is not, but it is still there.
you've got a total number delta, or the change of 93,000.
That's on an annualized basis.
So on an annualized basis, for the next 4 months, which is a third of the year, you're actually talking about 31,000
Yes, sir.
to finish this budget cycle out,
Yes, sir. Aside from,
not 93,000. Now,
Correct.
we'll certainly It's not like we can take it away from them. But, you know, I think that the market, you know, we need to be paying market, whatever that may be.
Yes, sir.
And I see that, you know, Johnson County has a whole lot more activity. They've got a luxury of being able to hire newbies in and train them up the ranks. I mean, I get that for the half of them being under the 100,000 mark. You need more experience, although you've got one that's, you said just left, had less than a year, but you're going to be seeking more experience, right? And the one over, you said there's one that you're talking to that's got several years' experience, but maybe not trying criminal cases.
Yes, sir, but he's got about 8 years' experience as a lawyer, so I anticipate that he'll be a good trial lawyer. And I don't hire people that I don't think won't be good trial lawyers.
Well, I wouldn't think you would, but.
Try to ferret that out in the interview process.
So what account is this, Becky? Exactly which account would this $31,000 come out of?
Well, first I want to see where we are with people leaving, people coming in. I want to see what payroll hits. I want to give it a couple of months, and then I'll come back with a budget amendment. If I give it to you now, I might under or over anticipate what we need. But we've been having a small discussion up here on the first two lines, the first two positions, taking just for the next 4 months, changing the first one from 120 to 112, and the next one from 115 to 110. Will that one work right here? From here to here for just 4 months? No, okay. Those two. And I honestly think that this is manageable, that I will need to move very little money. That's what I think.
And then the other three at the 103, 103, and 90 would stay there.
Yes, sir.
And that would even make it less than 31,000 for the 4 months.
And I know I have 20 right now.
Have 20.
He has an open position. That salary is about $20,000 that has not been spent. So
So we're close, actually.
yes, sir.
So what are we encumbering the next budget with? 93,000?
Yes.
Well, I think
You dropped
Which is
those,
a whole nother new conversation.
but you dropped those two in the middle.
The two on top.
Yeah. But the middle column.
So that's 13. It's that number changes to 80. And one of the things that we had spoken on this a little bit is instead of making that a hard number, especially for the empty position, let's leave that a range. If somebody comes in with significantly less experience and, don't pay them at the top of the range. And then I think that also with the, if something falls through with the one you're courting from, how do you say that, from Tarrant County? I hate to make it sound like we're out there poaching their people, but,
That's what they're doing. So
if the one you're courting from Tarrant County doesn't work out, and you end up going a different route on that, and I think that leaving a range there, something that you can work with, could potentially help tremendously.
Yes, I would prefer ranges for all of my positions, because then I could hire based on experience and qualifications, whereas now it's just a set number that is pegged every budget cycle. And then-
No, that may be the top, but you do not have to bring them in at that
Well-
salary, ever.
That is a true statement.
Yes, sir.
But then you lose all the built-up increases in that position, and you eventually find yourself in a position where the market commands quite a bit more than what you
Well,
can
you
pay.
just remind me every year, this is where it was, I hired him in at this, so please set that higher rate as my budget each year, and you just put your note, this was this, I hired in someone less, and if they leave, I want to make sure it's retained.
I will do that going forward.
You need to do
I am
that.
duly.
A good steward of the money, even though you've got a budget, if you can get somebody, that doesn't have the qualifications at a little bit less and let them prove themselves before you give them that full carrot.
Yes, sir. I would agree with that, so long as the top end of the range is a marketable salary. If the top end of my range is below the market, I'm never going to be able to bring anybody in for less than the top end.
This is a
So-
good start.
A motion
So
on
how
the table.
would we, well, she's got a motion on the table, but before we get to, how would we couch our motion at this point? With what Becky has suggested?
to increase the salaries for the remainder of the budget year for the first position on there to 112, second position to 110, third and fourth to 103, and fifth to 90 for the remainder of the budget year.
We don't know the monetary impact.
This is going to be better than I had figured, but everything I've looked at, with having that 20,000 plus money that hadn't been spent, and again, when will the new person come in? How much will it cost when this other employee, what is their vacation time? I don't have all the information, but
Right.
what I'm looking at is this is very manageable for the remainder of the year with the leftover budget, and I do have the contingency funds.
Excuse me, if we've got that, if we make those changes to the top two, for the 4 months, you're only looking at about 28,000.
Yes,
And
sir.
you got 20.
Yes, sir.
So now we're really talking about 8 right now.
Yes, sir.
And then the next budget cycle, we're just going to have to deal with what we got to deal with. He's got to have, I see the market here. I understand that.
Well, and I absolutely contend that this is something that's coming out of out-of-county inmates. Because, again, this jail pop that's been pushed down, we're probably going to be over budgeted on out-of-county inmates because of, because of the excellent work that everybody's been doing to reduce that number. So,
Money to out-of-county
No.
inmates?
I don't know if I'll go that far with it, but I still think we're only down to about 8,000.
About all we're adding, because of you got, as you just stated, there's already 20,000 on the positions been open since May, for quite some time, that hadn't been spent. So,
Yes, that position's been open since February, Commissioner.
Again, if you make these two cuts, you're right, it's going to be around $8,000. And there's 70, 80, 90,000 in one of the contingencies and over 100 in the other.
You're asking us to make a decision that's going to impact the upcoming budget out of cycle, which is a bad precedent that we have started, the prior court started, and continuing that precedent I am not in favor of. I understand the need, but I am not in favor of encumbering an upcoming budget out of cycle. I've talked to several counties this morning, and all of them said this is a bad precedent, and I agree.
I'm sensitive to that position, and I agree in principle, Commissioner Samuelson. I'm just coming to you as this happened. I've also talked to Parker County DA, and he told me what you're telling me is I need to come poach your people. So, but I am sensitive to that, and the fact that it is a mid-year budget request. I just don't control when these things happen, so I'm coming to you as they happen.
So there's always going to be a market. I grew up in the IT world. There were always people leaving for more money, for IT this or that, or this company, SAP or whatever. We're always going to have this issue where there's other places paying more money. We have to realize the other benefits that Hood County has, our quality of life, the benefits that we have on our retirement plan, which is, I just met with TCDRS last week, or was that week before last, I guess now. And we have one of the best, if not the best, retirement plan in the entire state. So we have so many benefits here that other counties around do not have.
Yes, ma'am, and I agree with that. And if we were closer on our salaries, I could see, that argument coming into play more. But we're quite a bit off on our salaries. And last budget cycle, and nothing to fault that court for, but I did ask for more salary increases than I got. And so it would have been less of an impact had we gotten those salary increases back then. But we didn't, and now here we are.
And we do have the budget cycle coming up. We don't have the final numbers from the appraisal district yet, so we don't even know what we're working with and what we've already caused ourselves based on decisions that were made last October. So this is just adding to the snowball. And I'm not in favor of taking action today without much more information and time to review it, the numbers from Becky, the impact on the future budget. So I still have the motion on the table to table it.
A motion been made by Commissioner Samuelson to table the request for the District Attorney's Office for an increase in salary adjustments. Do I have a second? Motion fails for lack of a second. Do I have another motion? I'll make a motion that we increase the DA's budget as per the salary adjustment request as stated, without adding any additional monies from any other funds in the county, allowing the county auditor to see where we are before the budget.
Before we do any line item transfers.
Yes. Everybody hear that? Do I hear a second?
Second.
Can we make that a range? And I think just the current and the proposed would be a good range for now. And say each one of those positions, so the top one would be from 99 to 112, and then 98 to 110, 85 to 103, and leave a range. That way, if somebody does come in with a little less experience, you can help us out on that budget there. Would that be okay to make that range instead of just that hard line there?
Can you work with that? I mean, I don't.
Well, like I said a minute ago, a good steward manager of the money, you know, if you've got a top, but you've got somebody that you can get for a little bit less, then you're managing your budget.
That is true, and I would like the positions to be budgeted with ranges, so long as the ranges are still the top ends are still a marketable amount. Here, I'm asking to bring them to what I think, I'm asking to bring them to the top end of the range, which is what I think is a marketable amount. If I were to lose that position and find somebody with less experience that could still do the job with some more training, I could hire for less than that. But as it stands right now, I'm asking to bring those positions to what would be the top end of that proposed range, Commissioner.
Are you amending the motion?
I don't know. I was asking if that, if.
Can you work within that amendment?
Yes.
Okay. Come on up here and restate it, Becky, because I don't want to, there's so many different, go ahead, speak into the mic so it can be recorded here.
So what you want to do is the first position, the top end salary is 112,000. The second position, the top salary is 110,000. The third and fourth position, top salary 103, and the fifth position is 90,000. That's the top
90,000.
salary, and any range under that he would like to do. It never has to be set in stone that you have to pay him that much.
Okay, and that this can be worked within the DA's budget as it is because of the 20,000 that was saved.
I will take a
Since
look at it in
February.
a couple of months and see where they are, see the remaining budget, and if there need to be any adjustments, and I will submit a budget amendment.
Good, okay.
When is the effective date?
June 5th.
June 5th? Is
So-
that going to be all right? I mean, she's not going to leave before June 5th. You're going to be able to tell her that we passed it and it's going into effect June 5th?
I haven't voted yet.
Well, there's no guarantee she's going to stay anyway, but at least you can offer her that.
That is a correct statement, Commissioner. But yes, I think June 5th is a workable date. I mean, it's right around the corner, so.
You will be able, okay,
So I just want to
Second that.
understand that
okay.
this does not have any impact on the budget. I don't understand how you're saying that.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
It will have some effect, but it's not going to be
93,000.
93,000. It's like Commissioner Eagle said, around 8,000 that I might have to move from contingency into his budget.
And then the impact on the future budget.
That we'll discuss at budget time.
But we can't take it back, or
No, ma'am,
so.
unless he chooses to pay them less, and I would not do that.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion?
The only thing I'll add is I understand Commissioner Samuelson's concern. We voiced that when we had the same situation with dispatch, had the same situation with the Sheriff's Department, and we've had issues where we're in some uncharted waters. And I understand, and I absolutely agree with, philosophically, with Commissioner Samuelson's position. However, I understand the position that you're in as well. And I don't like it, but you got to do what you got to do. So
I don't like it either, Commissioner, but that's where I am, and you're right.
I hear you.
We do have a member of the audience that would like to speak before we vote.
They fill out a form.
Stick around once you hear this.
So I'm going to speak as clear and slowly as I can because I'm just an angry disabled guy. Yeah. So I got no problem rewarding hard work, all right? But there are cases right now that you promised families that you would try and you didn't. Holly Palmer, ring a bell? Yeah. 35 years, cold case. Still haven't been solved. And the PD and the Sheriff's Office did a dang good case putting it all together, and you haven't tried it yet. You and your predecessor and Judge Haddix. Rob Christian, yeah. So I don't mind rewarding hard work, y'all. All right? You get paid for the job you do. But you want to go kicking cases down the road like you did that boy out in Crescent and plea out. You care more about your prosecution rate and your success rate than you do actually taking care of the people, the families that you're supposed to represent. I've been waiting a long time to say this to your face. So, give the money. Yeah, I agree with you. But I reward hard work. And you know why your people are leaving you? Because you don't do your job. People stay in jobs that they enjoy for less money. My whole life has been that. I punched cows many years just because I like doing it for less money. Firefighter, Army, whatever. If you did a better job at doing your job, people might stick around a little bit longer. You promised Holly Palmer's family that you look into it, and you have not done so. If that hurts, I hope it does. So, like I said, you want to give the money? Give the money. Make sure he does his job. I came up here and I said the exact same thing. Do your job. Quit kicking stuff on down the road just because, oh, I might have to do some hard work for it. Get over it. I don't care if you get 6 days or 6 days of no sleep. You know what? That's the life you chose. That's the career you chose. Deal with it. All right? And people are leaving you because you're not doing your job. Think about that. Appreciate it.
Okay. All right.
I got something I want to say about that. We have elections for a reason. I mentioned this the other night. You're dealing with an elected officials, and they are doing their job, and if the people don't like the job they're doing, then they run somebody and vote somebody else in. And that's what America is about. It's about elections. So the people decide who's doing the right job and who isn't.
Okay, all right.
Sorry, Judge. And sorry the way I'm dressed. I'm about to head out of town and had to stop here real quick. I'm kind of with Mike on that. You know, I'm all for giving them money, and I'm siding with you too that, you know, y'all need to make sure it's in the budget. But they need to do their job. When you're letting your buddies get away with beating their wives or letting people get away with election fraud because you're not doing your job, that's why people are leaving. I would implore you guys to go talk to these people. Why? Yeah, there might be money, but there might be something else behind it. You know, there's so many people that complain, and yeah, you said there's a, you know, we get to elect new officials, but you know, when we elect them, we don't know how they are until they start doing their jobs, and when they don't do their jobs, then we kind of know, hey, we need someone else next time. And that's what we got here. We got a guy who routinely, oh, well, we're going to give it to somebody else, or, oh, it's election year, so it's too sticky for me, or, oh, that's my buddy, so I'm going to let him go, because, you know, that's, and stuff like that's not right. And I'm all for giving these people money, but like Mike said, they got to earn it. Show us that you're going to do your job, and then, yeah, we can do this. But again, I'm with Samuelson on this one. That you need to make sure you got it in the budget, because now he's handcuffing you. Once you give him this money, well, it's going to be in the budget now. You got no choice. You can't say, hey, I paid you 110 this year, now I'm only going to pay you 90 next year. So yeah, that's something y'all really should look at, and Becky's got a great handle on that, and she'll tell you the same thing. So thank you.
Just one more comment. Keep in mind as we look at these salary surveys that Johnson County is 3 times our size, Parker County is twice our size, so our salary budget should be less because of the size of our county. So just wanted to make that comment.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay.
Nay, for reasons stated, precedent.
A motion passes 4-1. Thank you all. That is adjournment.